Hey all you proud nerdy moms and dads. So we are going to do another part of our video series, and this is going to be painting. So this is what I've been doing for 32 years now. I would call myself a master painter. We are going to be painting one of our bedrooms. It's been a bit of a project, taking a while, but we were doing a three-tone, and so we thought we'd do a video to show the proper way to do a three-tone. All those DIY guys make it look so easy, but if you really want to get a proper one and get some good lines and some really smooth casings, this is how you do it. So we thought we'd show you step by step. A couple things to start off with. Make sure to have good footwear, because there are hazards. There's usually nails and stuff you have to worry about. A big thing is down here on the ground, when you take up your carpet, you're going to have tack strip. A lot of times I'll leave it on, so you want to be careful with your hands and your feet hitting that tack strip. A big thing, sandy, you can hurt them pretty bad. We're going to just go through the starting thing. So what we did was we had old casings, those rounded ones before, they were pretty beat up. So we put in these new MDF casings. It's kind of the new style, it's the squared off version. So we put in for base and for case, and then we also did our window over here, wrapped it, put in a new window, energy saving windows. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting off with puttying. We have to putty all these holes where you put in the old casing, and then you also have to caulk all these different edges, so we'll be doing that later. And then we'll go from there. And so this is how you putty, the right way to putty. So we have what's called Crawford's Painter's Putty. You can do a couple different kinds. There are some at Home Depot called DAP. It's a little stickier than this is. Kind of reminds me of Silly Putty back in the day, if you remember that at all. You just get a little ball, roll it around. Sometimes it's a little too sticky. You might even need to get a little bit of dirt on it, but this one's okay. Take the painter's putty knife. Usually the flexi ones are the best. About this size, you don't want those big huge ones, you just want a little one. When people put on these casings, a lot of times you'll see little dimples. If you just go over that, you're going to have that dimple later. So sometimes you want to pre-scrape these little dimples off. You can see that. This one didn't have much. Sometimes you can go as far as even sanding those spots, but usually just scraping is good enough. Next thing is, the reason why I use putty instead of spackle. You can use spackle. It's the actually pasty stuff that you take a glob out and you smear it on. The difference is, if you do that, now you have to sand it more, and a lot of times it's hard, they actually dimple in. So if you're really trying to get rid of this as good as you can, this is one of the better ways to do it. And it'll dry better and goes quicker. So what you do is you kind of push it in, take your putty knife, and swipe it off. So we're pushing this in, scraping it off. Now it has a little bit of a bubble there, so we can do it again. There you go. You can do a full casing of that if you want to. And then you come back with, I usually use about a 220 piece of sandpaper, and just go over a quick sand on that. And if you feel over it again, you should not feel much on there. Now there may be still a little bit left over, and we'll go with a step later on that will go in between coats that'll make that totally go away. Another good thing I was going to show, so with all this I like to just show some little tricks and stuff that I've learned over the years. 30 years is a long time, so I've come up with many things. For sanding, you can use sponges or you can use paper. The reason why I like paper a little bit more sometimes, and for most things, because you can keep them nice and flat. The big thing is when you're sanding spackle or putty, or anything really, you usually want to keep it pretty flat, so be careful. So sandpaper seems to work a little better. If you're using sponges, just be careful not to push too much, because it will bow it out a little bit, then you have to fill it up again. So with sandpaper, you fold it once, and then you can fold it twice, and cut it about halfway through. Then you can fold it again, and now, instead of just having this floppy piece of paper that you fold it over once, and that really doesn't work that well, now you have a four-way piece that has got some backing to it, so it's not as floppy as a real piece of paper. Also, you use this side, now you open it up, fold it out, now you've got two more sides to do that are brand new. So it's a nice way to optimize your sandpaper and to have a little more structure when you're sanding with it. So another trick, I was talking about putty, a good thing, works, so when you have marks on wood like this is just pencil, but sometimes the paint that you use won't cover that up, or it might, but it might take a couple coats. It's easier to get it off. Pen especially, sometimes will definitely can bleed through. So putty, I think I mentioned this earlier, kind of like silly putty, if you ever put it on a newspaper, that's an old thing, but you can take it off and you can see the newspaper on there. So it's kind of works like a magic eraser almost. But you take this right here like this and use it like an eraser, and it'll take stuff off really well. It's nice and useful, but especially even for black marks on your casings, you know, from feet, even on your walls. This will take it off pretty well without messing it up. Magic eraser works okay, but if you're not careful with magic eraser, sometimes it will actually mar your paint. This tends not to.